Good morning, yogis. Let's begin seated. Any comfortable seat. I'm sitting up on a blanket to have a little elevation to my hips. I can tilt my pelvis forward slightly, feel the sits bones ground and lengthen through the crown. Let your hands rest comfortably on your knees or your legs if your legs are extended. Even closing your eyes and bring your attention inward. We always begin with centering as a way to land here in this present moment. Our lives are busy, so we want to take this moment to, just sort of prepare ourselves to draw our attention into our body and our breath, and then ultimately, calming the mind. So we use our physical asana practice we use our body and the shapes that we take as a tool to bring our attention to our physical body, and then we start to go deeper as we go into the practice, to the breath, to pranayama, calming the mind, into meditation as we, kind of go on the path of the 8 limbs of yoga. So the asana is just that small portion, and we're really using it as a tool. So I wanted to say that as a reminder that it doesn't matter what the physical shapes look like, what our body looks like. Just take care of yourself in this and all practices. Do what's most loving for you, always opting for that, and knowing that it's a tool to go into those deeper levels, to go inward to your true self. So today we'll be doing some back bends. Back bends are a great class of pose because they help open us up, and they may be challenging because as we go along in life, we kind of collapse inward. We might protect ourselves by rolling the shoulders forward. We might have postural habits or activities that draw our shoulders forward. It might be sort of like in the aging process, we kind of round and go forward. So we want to make sure that we keep elongating. And we can do that in our yoga practice. We elongate and we might back bend, and this will help to open up, our hip flexors, our belly, so that we can go out in the world and shine our light and do amazing things. It might help open our hearts so that we can be more loving to ourselves and others. It might help us open our throat so that we can speak our truth. So there's some physical and energetic reasons to back bend, but I know it's not always easy. So just go at your own level. We'll start really slow and doing long back bends, and then we'll get into back bends that work in the low back and the upper back. So with that in mind, let's just start to warm up by mobilizing the spine in all of its different directions. So if your eyes are closed, you can flutter your eyes open if you like, and then come forward into a little bit of an extension where you lift your heart and gaze, and then take your torso over to the right and then back behind you as you round the spine, and then over to the left and then forward. This is often called Sufi grinds. So we're stirring and awakening the energy, but also think about this as a way to move your spine in all of its different directions. So you kind of take that extension as you go forward, side stretch, keeping the opposite hip down as you go laterally. And then maybe even as you go laterally, you can find little ways to incorporate a rotation. And then maybe you can even add your head in if you want. The shoulders, anything can move here. There's no right or wrong. Flowing with the breath. Awakening the energy, noticing how we're feeling, going in the other direction now, and connecting with our body. Landing here in this physical body. Allowing the breath to deepen. A few more rounds in this direction. And then bring that movement to stillness, ground the sit bone, tone the belly, lift and lengthen the torso. And notice how you're feeling now, returning to breath. All right, so now we'll come to standing, and you can get to standing any way that you choose. We will be doing a lot of vinyasas today, so maybe you don't want to do that. You can just roll over the knees and curl the toes under and roll over to your feet. You could come through a half lunge and get up to standing, however you'd like to come to Tadasana. Then let's move our blanket, if you used one, out of the way for now, and meet in our standing posture, mountain pose, Tadasana. Connect your feet to the earth. The inner outer balls of feet and inner outer heels, even lift your toes, spread them wide and lower the toes down. So a nice connection to the earth. And then from there, lift through the arches, engage the muscles of your legs, your belly. Lengthen through the sides of your neck. Lift your sort of ear tips. So we're lifting up through the crown of our head, but without going into extension in our neck yet. So keep the chin sort of parallel and notice how you're feeling. So we'll begin with some joint warm-ups, our neck and our shoulders, and then we'll even do a Gomukhasana arms to get our shoulders prepared for what's to come. And then as we go along in our practice, we'll do the poses at least twice, maybe 3 times. And it's something to keep in mind in your practice. It is really helpful to do poses multiple times. The first time, I like to always say our body's going, wait, what? What do you want me to do? And sometimes we are figuring it out or noticing how we're feeling on a day. We might be stiff or sore from previous exercise or something. So doing things a couple of times really enables you to transcend, like I was talking about, to transcend the body, to then transcend the breath, and then transcend the mind. So doing poses a number of times is really good. So that's what we'll focus on, some repetition today with that idea of, kind of reaching those, other limbs, those higher limbs of yoga. So with that in mind, let's start with our neck. You can close your eyes if you like. Let your right ear drop towards your right shoulder. Arc your chin over your chin over your right shoulder. Then sort of rotate your gaze up to the sky. Let the head drop back. Start to rotate your gaze over the left shoulder as you follow the left collarbone. So you're rotating the neck, even adding some rotation laterally. Side bending, rotating, flexion, extension. So moving the neck in all of its different directions at whatever pace feels comfortable for you. Even allowing the shoulders to move if that's okay, if that feels okay, or if that happens. Go in the other direction. Keeping the breath flowing and moving to your degree of motion. The pace that feels comfortable for you. And then this next time your chin comes towards your chest, bring it up to neutral and pause and notice. Now let's rotate our shoulders, and you could add your full arm if you like, but bring your shoulders up towards your ears, kind of squeeze them forward. And then send them forward so that your shoulder blades are drawing apart, and then send them down so your neck gets even a little longer, and then draw them back so your shoulder blades squeeze towards the spine like we do in some of our back bends, and then up toward your ears. And do that, go in those 4 directions, and you can even speed up the pace so you're kind of evening it out, making it a little more fluid, or you could keep it more specific to each direction. If you find there's some tightness, it might be more helpful to do it slow. Nice, and then go the other direction. So the shoulders up to the ears with a squeeze. Then they draw back, shoulder blades draw towards the spine, descending down, and then forward, and shoulder blades apart. A few times like that. Keeping a nice tone to the belly to support your lower back. It's going to be critical here in our movements. And then pause and notice. Good, feels good. All right, let's do Gomukhasana arms now so that when we get into our sequence, we could maybe explore fuller back bends that require a lot of more shoulder opening. So let's take our strap, and the strap could be anything, you know, a belt from a robe, a tie, a belt, leather belt. I'm even folding my strap in half because I don't need so much length. And then send your right arm up to the sky with the strap in hand and let it drape behind you. You can get some nice length here, even giving your arm a little assist. So this shoulder blade is kind of lifting up. And then bend the elbow, let that hand drop behind you. And then give it, again, another little assistance. And keep your head kind of pressing against the arm rather than having it collapse in. So stay long. And then internally rotate the left arm as you bend the elbow and bring it behind the back. And so, you know, maybe it will just grab the strap somewhere. You could start to gradually walk your hands down your strap. Maybe your hands even, you know, they might even touch. You may be able to even clasp them in some degree. But you can just even keep hold of the strap, even if they could touch. It might feel nice. And then it might enable you to press your head into your arm, into your forearm. Stay long here. And feel as if the right shoulder is kind of lifting, because it is. And the left shoulder is kind of descending, because it is. And feel that there's this asymmetry here now in our shoulders, which is kind of like the pose itself. It's called Gomukhasana, or cow face pose. So this might be even what a cow's face looks like when they're chewing, as the jaw kind of, I don't know, kind of moves around in a circular motion. So Gomukhasana. Take one more breath, and then let's slowly release. Oh yeah. Oof. Give any movements, any shakes you need to release any tension. Switch the strap in the left hand, and same thing happens. Left arm goes up to sky, gets really long. We bend the elbow, let the hand drop behind. Internally rotate the right arm, and let's see if you can clasp that strap. Breathing, noticing the difference, but still feeling that there's that asymmetry in the shoulders. One lifts, or the shoulder blades, one lifts as the other drops down. And the shoulders too. And then slowly release. Okay, let's do one more round. So, and if this is something, if you, as you're practicing later and you're using a recording, you can always stop your recording to be able to do more repetitions or go at a slower pace. So right hand was externally rotates, left arm internally rotates. Maybe your hands come closer to clasping, which might feel nice. Using that strap is great. Take one more breath. And then slowly unwind. Got one more. Left side. Internally rotate the right arm, bring it behind the back. Oh, this is my tight side. Right shoulder does not like to internally rotate so much. And breathe. Which side is tighter for you? Just notice. Was there a difference as you did it the second time? Might there be a difference if you did it a third time? A little more, you know, freedom, so that you can get out of the body and the mind and just find peace in the posture. Take one more breath and then slowly release. Oh, let's put our strap off to the side. We'll use it later for our final stretches, so you can just put it off to the side for now. Let's do our balance pose. So let's do a little balance right now. We'll do our Vrikshasana, our tree pose. And the challenge might be here. If you'd like, you could lift your gaze. So a lot of times I say to look down because it's grounding. In this opportunity is to maybe lift your gaze forward, even lift your gaze sort of upward if you'd like to challenge. So, and we'll be doing that in some of our knee down lunges. So might feel nice to try it now. So with your left foot grounded, big toe mounds, pinky toe mounds, inner outer heel, spread your toes wide, pick up the right knee, maybe even externally rotate that hip a few times to prepare the hip for the pose. And then this next time, keep it out to the side and let your heel come over your ankle, onto the calf, or up to your inner thigh. Okay, wherever you'd like to be today. Then draw these two legs toward each other. So from there, you can lift from your pelvic floor and lengthen through the crown of the head. You can keep your hands on your hips, one hand on a prop while the other hand is maybe in the middle of your heart, like a half Anjali Mudra. You could take Anjali Mudra or even Supine Mudra and extend your arms to the sky. Grounding, lifting, and lengthening. And once you find stability in the posture, you can ease the breath. And then consider shifting the gaze, as I mentioned. You can start to look forward, look up, and then can you look up to your thumbs? Take one more breath here. And then slowly start to make your way back down. That makes it challenging, right? To look up. Closing the eyes is the next challenge. So see, some days we might feel that we feel really stable in our posture and we're able to take those next levels of challenge, and sometimes not, and that's okay too. So the right foot grounds, left hip externally rotates, maybe trying it a few times. Where's the external rotation of the hips today? And then bring the left foot onto the right leg somewhere, wherever that wants to be today. Drawing the legs together. So from this firm foundation, we can lift and lengthen like a magnificent tree, ready to blossom this spring. And shifting the drishti if that feels comfortable for you or not. Oops. Slowly making your way back out. And we'll do that one more time on the other side, or one more time each side. Left foot grounds, externally rotate the right leg. Going back into your Vrikshasana on the right. Slowly make your way out. One last time. Right foot grounds, left leg externally rotates. Slowly make your way back out. pause and notice. You can even bring a hand on the belly and a hand on the heart to take note on how you're feeling now. And let's begin to move. So we'll start with a few sun salutations. We'll do the half Urdhva Surya Namaskar, our full Surya Namaskar, and then we'll go into some prone and then supine back bends. So we'll start at the top of our mat space. You could have your blocks handy, perhaps. Connecting feet to earth. Lifting up through engaged legs, pelvic floor, shoulders up, back, and down. So take a big inhale. Focus in on elongation here, and then add a long extension. So take a sense that you are engaging your core, lifting your heart, and lifting your gaze here towards your thumbs. So just a nice long extension. Only go as far as feels comfortable for you, and then exhale with your hands through prayer or swan dive, hinging from your hips into your forward fold. If you can, when you come into that fold, bring your legs towards straighter. Then take a half lift, letting your hands climb up onto the block or your legs, torsos in line with your hips, lengthen here. Exhale, take that length back into your fold. Maybe if you have your knees bent, you could bring them a little straighter. Then bend the knees to come up, belly on the thighs. Use your strong legs to root and then rise up, arms overhead, looking up once again, long, low extension, and then hands to prayer. Good. 2 more times like that. Big inhale, elongate and extend. Exhale and forward bend into that fold with straight legs, engaging the legs. Take a half lift. Draw the crown of your head away from your hips. Lengthen through the side waist. Take that length back into your fold with straight-ish legs. Then bend your knees, rising up, strong core, elongate, extend here, and then hands to prayer. 1 more time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Rising up. And exhale, hands to prayer. Good job. Now we'll add a lunge. So take a big inhale here. Exhale into your fold. Inhale, take your half lift. Exhale, fold again. Soften your knees, send your left leg back. Bend your right knee over your ankle, hands frame that ankle. Extend that left leg back and then lower the knee down. Pause for a moment here in the low lunge. Send your arms up to the sky, reaching forward and overhead. You can bring your hands into Supine Mudra if you like, and then lift your gaze, lift your heart. Maybe let your head drop back. Maybe easier to shift our gaze now because we're a little more stable with the back knee down. Take 1 more breath and then lower your hands to frame your foot. Bring the right knee back to meet the left, knees to chest, chin. So your hands ground, your hips stay slightly elevated. The eyes of the elbows face each other, face forward so that they're going to be able to bend backwards, hugging by the rib cage. And then, so your chest is going forward, the hips stay elevated, melt your heart and chin to the earth. And then use your strong arms to pull your chest forward through your hands as you extend your legs and uncurl your toes. Plant the tops of your feet and lengthen through the crown of the head. Lift your chest without using too much arm strength, just drawing the shoulder blades toward the spine. And keep your gaze down. We're not doing a big lift yet. We'll do it later. So just a little Bhujangasana. Lower back down, press up through hands and knees, curl your toes under, send your hips to the sky. And breathe here. Pedaling your feet out. And bring that movement to stillness as you lift your hips. The eyes of the elbows now might be facing each other or slightly forward to draw the shoulders down the back so your neck is light, nice and long. Look up towards your hands. Walk, step, or hop your feet towards your hands. Take a half lift. Exhale and fold. Bend your knees, belly on your thighs, rising up, hands to prayer with an extension, and exhale, hands to your heart. All right, other side. Inhaling and extending. Exhale, forward bending. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, fold, send your left leg back. Bend the left knee over the ankle. I'm sorry, I said left leg, I meant right. I apologize. I did say wrong side. Right leg goes back here because we're on the left side. Hands next to heel. If you did the wrong leg, you can, or the other leg, no right or wrong, you can jump switch or just come back to standing and switch. And then lower the right knee. Send your arms to the sky, lifting heart and gaze, and take this knee down extension. Lengthening through the outer arms, gazing up at your thumbs, lifting your sternum. Next exhale, lower your hands to frame your heel. Left knee goes back to meet the right. Knees, chest, chin, second time. Tone the belly. Come forward with your chest. Keep the hips elevated as you melt your heart and throat to the earth, squeezing shoulder blades towards the spine. Little back bend prep here. Pull your chest through your hands as you lower your hips and ground your feet. Lengthen from toes to crown of head. Lift up with back strength, not hand strength. Maybe even test lift your hands. Lower back down, press up through hands and knees. Curl toes under, hips to sky. Adho Mukha Svanasana, number 2. On the next exhale, take that inhale, look up at your hands, walk, step, or hop your feet towards your hands. Uttanasana, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, bend your knees, strong legs, rise up, elongate, take a gentle extension, and then hands to prayer. Good. Let's do that one more time each side. Inhale, elongate and extend. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, left leg back. Right knee bends, low lunge. Lower left knee down. Hands in sword hand, Supine Mudra, or just wide shoulder width. Rise up, lift your heart and gaze. So keep lifting through your sternum like you're trying to pull your heart up to the sky. And that way you'll get more length here and rather than compressing in the low back. So but keep reaching up and lifting your heart. Exhale, lower your hands to frame your foot. Right knee back to meet the left. Knees, chest, chin again. Elbows hug by the rib cage. So your chest goes forward as your hips stay elevated. Then pull your chest through your hands. Ground the legs. Squeezing shoulder blades to the spine. Lift up with back strength. Exhale, lower back down, press up through hands and knees, curl your toes under, dog pose. Keep lifting the hips, engaging the legs if you can so the heels can descend. Inhale here, look toward your hands, walk, step, or hop your feet to your hands. Take a half lift. Exhale and fold, bend your knees, root to rise up, and then hands to prayer. One more time here. Big inhale, elongate and extend. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, take your half lift. Exhale, fold. Soften your knees, send your right leg back. Left knee bends, low lunge. Right knee down, rise up. Knee down, warrior one with an extension. Keep lengthening, reaching up and lifting your heart. And slowly lower your hands to frame your foot. Send the left knee back to meet the right. Last knees, chest, chin. Here we go, keeping the hips elevated. Elbows bend back as the chest melts down, squeezing the shoulder blades toward the spine. Broad across your collarbones here. Pull your chest through your hands. Extend the legs. Lift up. Bhujangasana. Lower back down. Press up through your hands and knees. Curl your toes under. Dog pose. Take one more breath here. And then lower your knees down. Uncurl your toes. Sit back to a child's pose and pause here. You can even extend your arms or extend your arms by your side so you can come onto the backs of your hands, maybe to release any tension in your wrists. Or you can keep your arms extended if that felt nice. Up to you. You could even bend your elbows, bring your hands to prayer, bend your elbows and bring the prayer behind your head to get a little shoulder opening as well. And now let's extend our arms. Rise back up to tabletop. Let's do a few cat cows here. So inhale, lifting your sits bones, dropping the belly, lift your heart and gaze. Exhale, tuck the tailbone around the spine and drop the head. Go back and forth like that a few times. Okay. And exhale. Now the next time that you take your cat back, hold it there. Dropping the head, drawing the navel to the spine. And then take that rounded spine, draw your hips back towards your heels, curl your toes under, and then rise back up into a dog pose. All right, so now we're back in downward facing dog. We're going to go back and forth from down dog to plank pose, a good strengthener. So come forward, bring your shoulders over your hands. Good. Engage your arm muscles, engage your core, engage your legs. So this is a good all over body strengthener. And then press back to dog pose without moving hands and feet. This is also a good way to determine the distance between hands and feet in dog pose, because this plank will set you up based on your height, and then you don't even have to move hands and feet to get into the dog pose. It doesn't matter if the heel's lower. Go back and forth a couple more times. Now one more time. From our plank to our dog. Now this next plank is going to take us down onto our belly. So we've kind of been preparing for chaturanga by doing the knees, chest, chin. So from here, see if you could, and you can lower your knees down if you need to. You lower, actually let's lower our knees down. So you can do kind of another knees, chest, chin, but you won't arch the spine. You'll draw the elbows back as you start to slowly lower. If you want to keep your legs extended as you slightly lower, that's fine too. And let's all meet up on our bellies. Okay. Oh, all right, so now your hands are kind of in line with your chest. Elbows are up to the sky, hugging in. Uncurl your toes, plant the tops of your feet onto the earth, and then maybe even open up the legs a little bit so they're at least hip width apart. You could rest on your chin or your lips while you engage the legs. We're going to move toward upward facing dog. A lot of us don't do it because it really does, it could, or it doesn't always, but I mean, it could impinge on the lower back. So we're going to focus on doing it in a way that we are focusing on grounding through the lower body for stability, engaging the gluteal muscles to create more space in the low back, and just going as far as we want by lifting the upper back. So we'll just take it gradually and see how it goes. So for starters, let's bring awareness to the lower body. So maybe pick up your right leg and extend through, pick up the left leg, extend through, and then lower them both, lower them down. Get a sense that you're lengthening through the inner thighs, like your inner thighs and your big toes. So lengthen through the inner thighs. So lengthening. And then even maybe get a sense that you're drawing your pinky toes down. So you're activating the whole foot, the full foot's grounded. The outer thighs are activating as well. So feel that, really energized legs. Squeeze your glutes together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And feel that that's going to create more freedom in the low back. All right. So with that in mind, then your hands are on the earth. Use your arms. So use some arm strength this time to lift yourself up. And bring your arms maybe a little straighter than before, like you're pulling your chest through your arms. And then lower back down. So we'll make this a vinyasa for a few rounds. So squeezing, grounding the legs, inner outer legs, squeezing the glutes, pulling your chest through your arms, bringing your arms towards straighter as the shoulder blades draw towards the spine. The shoulders are looping down the back. Maybe each time you can start to come up a little with a straighter arm, pulling your chest through. And then maybe one more time, go to your fullest expression, whatever that is. If you're in your upward facing dog, you really could, again, grounding the legs, activating the legs, pulling your chest through, lifting your heart, maybe lifting your gaze, letting your head drop back. And then from here, if you want, you can roll over your toes or press up through hands and knees and go into your one final downward facing dog. And breathing here. And then yogis, lower the knees, sit your hips back to heels, and take another child's pose. And noticing how you're feeling now. Extending the heels, the hips towards the heels, getting a nice stretch in the low back after that work. All right. So we can rise up here, shift your hips over to one side, and then send your legs forward. And we're going to meet up in constructive rest, getting ready for a bridge sequence. So grounding the heels onto the earth, the feet onto the earth, bend the knees, arms by the sides. Have your strap handy here. And feel the connection of your feet to the earth. Ankles, knees, and hips are aligned. You can even draw the heels in a little bit if you want, so you can feel your heels, up to you. Arms are grounded. The back of your head is grounded. You want to always ground through the back of your head in bridge. Like maybe think about our grounding points are, in some cases, and often cases, our arms, our feet, and the back of our head, because you want to keep the neck in its natural curve. You don't want to feel it flatten out, especially the lower cervical vertebra, right, where it attaches to the thoracic spine there. We want to make sure we don't want to flatten that out, right? We want to keep a nice natural curve. So it's helpful to press to the back of your head and your feet. As you're doing that, just keep your arms here for a moment and press down to then rise up. So start to lift your hips, draw your tailbone towards your knees, maybe even giving the glutes a little bit of a squeeze, the quadriceps a squeeze. And then exhale and lower down. And let's rise up and down with your breath a few times, making this again a vinyasa. Maybe each time that you rise up, you're starting to go a little higher. And the next time that you rise up to your fullest expression, stay here. And again, remember, we're grounding through the feet, grounding through the back of our head, maybe even engaging the inner thighs, drawing them toward each other. Stretching the belly, engaging your glutes. And now from here, lift up your right shoulder and then draw that arm and the shoulder blade underneath the body with your palm facing the midline. Do that on the left side, lift and draw it in. And do that maybe a couple of times to help to draw your shoulders underneath the body to give you more of a lift in your thoracic area. And that's so your hands could touch and come together in Yoga Mudra. And then now we use the arms more to help us to lift up. And breathe here. Sometimes Yoga Mudra is not easy. So another option is to grab the edges of your mat. I like this one. And then, so I'm holding the mat with my thumbs up and my four fingers on each side underneath the mat. Then I curl my knuckles under. So you're getting that same idea. The shoulder blades are drawing together, which helps you to get more lift in your thoracic area. Good, right? So you could, those are a couple of options. And then if you want, maybe even lift your toes. Maybe lift the balls of your feet. Only the heels are grounding down now. The heels, your arms, and the back of your head. One more breath here. And then slowly lower the balls of your feet, your toes. Release your arms one at a time. Ground the hands, and then slowly, or the arms, and then slowly lower your torso. And pause and notice. All right. So let's try one more. This is going to take us toward a full wheel, the full back bend, Urdhva Dhanurasana. And this is just a prep for it. You don't even have to do it if you don't want to. You could continue with some bridging if that's helpful for you, or you could give this a try. So here's what we'll do. Is we've got our legs set up. We're going to take our arms overhead, bend the elbows, and then flex your wrists so that the palms of your hands come onto the earth with your fingers pointing toward your shoulders. Right, so that's it. So we have to ground the hands. We don't want to, it's hard to see on yourself, but do try to draw your triceps or your elbows in so they don't flare out. So draw them in as best we can. I can't even see on myself. And then ground the feet. So this is why we did that shoulder opener of Gomukhasana arms. And so then you can use your arms and your legs to sort of lift yourself up, maybe come on to the top of your head, but you're not putting any weight on the head. You're really using arm and leg strength and getting length here from your shoulders toward your knees. And then you could tuck your chin in, put the back of your head on the earth to come down. And that's it. So we're cultivating some strength to lift up. We are remembering that, we're not resting on the head at all. We are just kind of, safely resting the top of the head on the earth. Then we tuck the chin in to the chest to come down. So if you'd like to try that again, you can do that. So focusing on length and strength. So lifting up, really pressing hands and feet into the earth, squeezing your glutes maybe to protect the lower back and making sure you're not putting weight on the head. Then maybe coming down on the back of your head to lower back down and pausing here. Now we can do that one more time. Those folks who have a wheel in the practice and might want to try your wheel, you can do that now. So once again, the hands come overhead, hands ground onto the earth, using your arm and leg strength to lift up. And then maybe you can go up into your wheel, pulling your chest through your arms, just like we did in that upward facing dog. And then slowly tucking chin to chest to come on down and pausing here. Maybe here, extend your legs, extend your arms, and get a big stretch through the whole body. And then exhale and release. Release your arms by your side. Maybe bring a hand on the belly and a hand on your heart. And notice how you're feeling now. All right, so let's finish with one leg stretch. So if you have your strap, you can take your strap. You can bend your knees for a moment so that you can draw your right leg in and bring that strap around your heel. Extend your leg to the sky and put both ends of the strap in your left hand. You could keep your left leg bent or you could extend that leg. And then dorsiflex both feet. So both legs are energized. They're both are active like they were in our upward dog. See about grounding that left leg down as much as you can and extending that right leg up. So we're not trying to bring it toward our face to get our full stretch. We're activating it here. And in fact, let's keep some nice length in the torso, in the hip flexors that we created in our back bend. So let's press the right thigh away with your right hand as you extend that leg to the sky. Keep grounding through the back of your head so your neck stays neutral. Take one more breath. And then you can release that leg and use the strap to lower it down to the earth. You could then even bring the left leg in to the strap and then extend the right leg. So wherever you want to get to the left side. Take that nice transition now. And then the strap is on the heel. Bring both ends of the strap in your right hand. Activate both legs. The ankles are in dorsiflexion, extending through the heels, maybe spreading the toes wide. Ground your right leg down and maybe press that left thigh away. Like even if you wanted to hook your thumb in your hip crease. And now let's do that one more time each side. So however you'd like to get to the other side, you can lower the legs. You can switch down here on your mat. Lift your right leg up. So options, that may have felt nice to keep, drawing the hip away to get some space in your psoas, keep lengthening through the side body. But if you want to go for deeper stretch, do that, but keep some integrity to the leg, keep some engagement to the muscles even as you bring them in and really, do that, take that stretch from a nice stable foundation that is the activity, the strength and engagement and rootedness of the left leg. And then slowly prepare to go to the other side. Ground the right leg. Activate both legs. Stay there in that, sort of 90-degree posture, or start to draw the left leg in with a lot of muscular engagement. Slowly, when you're ready, lower your left leg down onto the earth and pause and notice How you feeling now? So let's let our legs drop out to the side. Toes can drop out. Feel that each half of your pelvis might externally rotate, grounding here into the earth. Maybe lift your chest for a moment to draw your shoulder blades together as you extend your arms, spinning your palms up to the sky. And then ground the back of your head. Maybe even rock it side to side. But feel the back of your skull is grounding so your neck remains neutral. Take a big inhale here, and on the exhale, sigh it out. Soften your face, your forehead, your eyes, your jaw. Take another big inhale. And on an exhale, soften your belly, your breath. Release the weight of your hips and your upper back, your arms and your legs to the support of the earth. Take one more big inhale, and on the exhale, surrender any last holding, even any willful control of your breath, and float here for these next few moments as we integrate our practice, restore our vital energy, and absorb the shanti, the peace of yoga. How easy it is to think, I will be feeling this forever. But look at how quickly the scenery changes. In the space of a few hours while driving down the highway, we can see mountains, deserts, petrified forest, and iron-rich mesas. In the space of a day, we can see courage, faith, despair, desolation, anger, healing, and joy. If there's one thing that's true, it's this: the universe is always changing. It is constant, continual evolution. The same holds true for the minutes, hours, and days of our lives. We are continually changing and shifting. Each emotion, attitude, and experience, each piece of scenery leads into the next. Put them all together, and what do you have? A grand journey, an exciting trip that leads to someplace worth going and someplace worth being. Each moment you are here. Look how quickly the scenery changes. Learn to enjoy the view. So allow your breath to deepen. Gently rock your head from side to side. Bring movement to fingers and toes. Sweep your arms overhead, reaching up through fingers and down through toes. Tucking your chin in towards your chest, taking one final stretch for this practice. And then exhale and release. Maybe draw your knees in and give them a squeeze. And then with either bent or straight legs, roll to right side, resting there for a moment in our first ever yoga pose. And then when you feel drawn to move, use your right elbow and left hand and sit up slowly and mindfully, returning to a comfortable seat like we began. Rooting through sits bones, toning belly, lengthening through crown of head. And taking a moment to notice how you're feeling now. Let's draw our hands to heart center in gratitude for our changing practice, gifts of yoga, and the gift to move in our bodies in this way. We'll seal our practice by joining our voices in the sound of Om. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste.